Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a bit of a breather, a breath of fresh air, kind of, in the sense that if there is something to be happy about, well, there's, if you look real hard, and let's try to be an optimist for a second. If you look real hard, there's always something to be happy about, right? But if we are thinking about the way that the game has progressed over 10th edition, I do want to take a moment here to talk about how I am happy that we are no longer looking at I need to place a spore mine to play the game. Thankfully, we now have a detachment looking at subterranean assault that can help you do things on the board. And outside of that, we have better things now, such as hyper adapted Raveners that are still overcosted. And I guess I should probably start doing some rah 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 about that a little bit more, uh, in the hopes that somebody out there goes, yeah, that can come down. Now, mind you, we've been doing rah 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 about other things, but hey, whatever, right? But coming back to the topic of the video, Spore Mine, for a lot of 10th edition, has been the thing that we live or died by. It is, can you put something in that corner to score a point? Can you put something here to score a point? And I'm glad that GW finally moved past that method of point making, kind of. Um, in the sense of, I was not only thinking about spore mines, but how they have made a lot of the units, the three mans that were able to do some little shit, into five mans. For our own, that would be Raveners. For something like Tau, it's the little fucks. You know what I'm talking about. The fucking the stealth battle shoots, right? Let's go with that. Um, Guard have theirs. Like we, Death March were already five, but things like that. So I was sitting here thinking, like, well, shit, what do we have that's small and deep strikes for us? There is the Parasite of Mortrex. That is ass. Uh, and there's a Winged Tyranid Prime that you're not sending solo if you bring it in your list at all at this point. And then I finally went, alright, you dumbass. The thing that we've been taking the entire edition has Deep Strike, and you've been taking it for the sole purpose, really. Well, the Biovore, but by extension, Spore Mines, right? Uh, we're still taking a Biovore in our list. Still happening because this is still good, right? Like, this is still good. Bio Minefield, enemy units cannot start or end an advance move within 6 inches of this unit. Nice. As well as the fact that, hey, I need something to deep strike and go over there. And it helps us screen out and do our own shenanigans. But thankfully, we're no longer in this era of the only way I can even start to play this game is by placing a spore mine. It might feel like that some games. I'm not going to say that is completely removed. But now the game is a little bit more lenient towards castling up. A thing that we tend to do. We like to put our shit in balls over here, here, and here. And that's kind of what happens, right? Now, you can go, alright, I need to put my Norn there. It'll come out of a tunnel. It'll happen there. Rippers, we saw them come out of assimilation form for a couple of weeks. That was kind of cool. But as you know, I would tell you in assimilation form, always bring your rippers. So, for us to be progressing past the point of spore mines, I did want to start thinking about, well, if all goes to shit, what are some things that we probably should be going back to, including the spore mines? And that first thing up was we never really gave Barb Gonch the shot that they deserved, even though I'm pretty sure I'm on video, what, number 2 or, well, I guess if you include this one, video 3, maybe 4. I was talking about, hey, Barb Gonch aren't that bad. Uh, and now it's mainly from the volume of shots that I've always talked about it, but they do have disruption bombardment. In your shooting phase, after this unit has shot, select one enemy infantry unit hit by one or more of those attacks. Until the end of your opponent's until the end of your opponent's next turn, that enemy unit is disrupted. While the unit is disrupted, subtract 2 from its move characteristic and subtract 2 from advanced and charge rolls made for it. This is one of the few units that still has the subtract 2 from move, advance, and charge. Um, Most things now have been updated to only do 2 from move and from charge because they're like, no, that's too much on the advance. Thankfully, we still have that on barb guns. And we never really made use of barb guns and spore mines keeping infantry back. Like, keeping them back. And I would say now that we have, again, subterranean assault, even if you're not doing it for the damage output, in the current meta where we're looking at a lot of infantry, I would say consider it. For, I don't know, let's go 110 points, 2 units of 5, and the Biovore you're already taking, you can keep some of the scary shit away. However, this is also to say that in this day and age, a lot of the infantry has bullshit. Like bullshit that will get them close to you. So maybe you treat them more as board fillers because they are 5 models with 40 mil bases. Right? And you're not that upset if the barb guns die. I'd say maybe consider barb guns over whatever endless multitude unit that you were considering, whether that be Hormagons for forward pressure or Neurogons for a backline fill. I'd say maybe, once again, look at barb guns, especially when we're still taking our spore mine generating biowar, right? It's not the worst thing. Now, on to that though, there was another thing that even got me here. I was thinking about the aura maxing, farming, whatever you want to call it, that we have, but we arguably don't have enough of. So, Swarmy, probably our best aura farmer, our aura maxer, the Swarm Lord, where we have malign presence. If this model is your warlord, each time your opponent targets a unit from their army with a stratagem, if they're within a foot of this model, increase the cost of the stratagem by 1 command point. So, I like Swarmy enough, but in most cases, I still find myself going for a regular Hive Tyrant over Swarming. But that's because I value lethal uh, and, you know, reduce the cost for myself a little bit more than I value if you're within a foot of my not indestructible unit, increase the cost. Now, that's, player preference one or the other way. However, there are ways to make swarming more annoying and something like a Maliceptor more annoying that has encephalic diffusion while an enemy unit is within 6 of this model. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, -1 from the hit roll, and if the enemy unit is below half strength, -1 from the wound roll as well. So, while I am still grateful that it isn't Spore Mine Central, I will say that there is a vector of play where we have done the make it really tough for the enemy that is close to play the game. Swarmlord, uh, Maliceptor, Winged Hive Tyrant, uh, if you're feeling froggy, Brood Lords in there too for the -1 on the attacks from the Hive Tyrant, Winged Hive Tyrant, and -1 to hit if you're in there as well with Brood Lord Gene Stealers, right? Um, but we've done Swarm Lord Maliceptor, and that's if people get close. But if you can manage to keep them far away with Spore Mines and Barb Guns, I think that would be all the same good for you. Other things that we've made work, Neurolictor, new point, well, new-ish, right? Relative to where it's been for most of the edition. This is, what, 2 balance data slates ago? 70 points. Within a foot, if the enemy's battle shocked, -1 to hit from them, +1 to wound for you, right? Um, and, quite frankly, this is another thing where it has blown up. We have okay loan ops, into which, hey, if you weren't within 12 because you couldn't get there, you can't pick up my shit. And then once you are in there, you, spaghetti-o. Better hope that you don't fail a battle shock test. And if we're talking about barb gaunts, just slowing things down, and Spore Mines having this second part here, Floating Death. Each time this unit or an enemy unit ends a move, for each model in this unit that is within 3 inches of one or more enemy units, select one of those enemy units. That model in that unit is destroyed, then roll 1d6 on a 2 through 5. The enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. On a 6, d3 mortal wounds. Right? Cool. Um, that's all to say that you can, between Spore Mines and Barb Guns, chip away just a little bit. That way, if they do finally make it to Death Leaper, Fear of the Unseen, while an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, worsen the leadership characteristic of models in that unit by 1. In addition, in the battle shock step of your opponent's command phase, if such an enemy unit is below its starting strength, it must take a battle shock test. So, there's some leeway here of what the game plan for us has been, right? Where we have kind of stages, but I think we are finally entering a point in the game in which we can realistically try this staging, where you have uh, swarming Death Leaper up there in the front. You have Spore Mines, Barb Guns, making it so that they're taking their damn time by the time they get around. And it's all the while more painful once they finally get closer with Maliceptor, Neurolictor. That's just to say, Aura and Tyranids is more viable than it's been for quite some time. Um, it's not that we've never tried this before. It's just that instead of having to rely on the Spore Mines to even begin to play the game, it's that now we realistically have delivery systems for everything. And by delivery systems, unfortunately, it's pretty much just subterranean assault. Um, but when you free up this unit, these units, I guess, to play without being the entire way that your list and gameplay has to revolve around, in the I need to squeak out as many points as I can by going pew pew pew, it frees you up to doing a little bit more fun things. Now, I'm not here to tell you that in the current meta, you're going to take down Pantheon of Woe Necrons with Biovore, Barbgaunt's, Neurolictor, Death Leaper. Probably not happening. But I am going to say it is enough on the board now to keep hopefully their deep striking asses in check and do your own game plan. Right? You don't necessarily have to be stuck in the day of I need a Biovore, I need triple Maliceptor, I need triple Neurolictor, which was, like, I shouldn't say the very beginning of 10th, but a good enough portion of early enough in 10th, right? Now, there's similarly a way to go, alright, maybe I need one Death Leaper, two Neurolictors, two Maleceptors, maybe Swarmy, a Biovore, maybe 2 units of Barbgaunts, and I can still play the game. Maybe a Trigon Prime, maybe some Tyrannifexes. Hell, maybe I'm getting crazy today and put in some Norns on some points, right? That's another thing. Board control, board control, board control, a thing that we used to pride ourselves on. Kind of, we wanted to, we tried to, but other armies started doing a bit better. So, say all this to say, it's good to see that we're in a state of the game into which I'm not sitting here having to worry about a fucking spore mine all game. I can actually forget to place my spore mine now and it not cost me the entire game. Now, am I telling you to take your Biovore and forget to place spore mines? No. I'm not telling you to take your Biovore and place a spore mine so that you can trigger Death Leaper and that you're going to win the game that way. No. I'm saying that finally, we as a faction and the state of the game have finally progressed so that I don't need this. It makes my life easier, but I can be okay without it in the round. Just makes my life easier, but finally, we get to play the game and not just Spore Mine Simulator for 3 hours. Yeah, little bit of cheer that I had on that front. So I think that's where we're at. I hope that we don't fall back into this pattern in 11th. But for now, if you are looking for something to do annoying against your friend, see how many auras you can get them to fall into. They might flip the table on you. But hey, that's the price we pay. If you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.